Test, test. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. There we go. I just fixed something that I didn't know was broken. All right. Hello. We have a lot to cover today, chat. We have a lot to cover today. And I'm excited for it because that means that we have a lot of yummy, awesome cards to look at today. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually just kind of dive right on in as soon as I make sure I got everything good to go. Yeah. We're just going to... Oh, no sounds? No sound? Oh. There we go. How about now? We got now. Yeah, we should have sound now. We have it now. Twitter, TikTok. Hey, there we go. Thank you very much, Professor Theory. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had something else plugged in, and apparently that ruins just about everything. Cool. Alrighty, but we're back, and that's what matters. Chat, welcome to the Garotiki stream. We are here to go over Edge of Eternities. We're here to go over Edge of Eternities. This is spoilers week number 1, right? So every Magic set is 2 weeks of spoilers before. So it goes like spoiler week 1 started this last Tuesday, went till the Saturday. Then next week is gonna be Monday to like basically Friday. It's kind of like a more of a Thursday sort of thing. It's like Monday through Thursday. Hey, bud, how you doing? And basically, Monday through Thursday of next week will be spoiler season because the full gallery will be up by Thursday, right? Like the last day of spoiler season is typically Thursday, and that's when they just dump like the last, like 100 or so commons and uncommons, right? By then, all but like 1 or 2 rares will be revealed, maybe even a mythic, but that's typically what happens. I think that this set will be just as normal as that. So next week spoiler season will be done, but today was the last day of the first week of spoiler seasons and of spoiler season, and we have a lot to cover. So let's scroll down to where we stopped before, which I believe was right here. Yes, so our last stream we covered the first bit of cards that they showed off. We didn't go over any of the commanders yet. Those are going to be more full-on deep dive videos, especially once the set is out. Chat, I like to kind of wait for the full deep dive builds on commanders when the set is out, so then we can use new goodies from the actual set, especially if they're going to be thematic, right? The Jeskai precon that just came out, or, was revealed yesterday. I'm not going to do a deck tech on that until the full set is out, because obviously I want to put spaceships in that deck, so I don't want to have to do 2 deep dives on it. So we will at the very least go over all of the mythics, all of the rares, and then the more spicier uncommons and commons that we see. Okay, so without further ado, chat, let's just start now. Let's just go over the first rare that we have seen. This is Consult the Star Charts. Previewed by Cobra Go Blue, friend of the channel. Alright. Consult the Star Charts, 1 in a blue, instant with kicker, 1 in a blue, that says, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands you control, plus 1 if those cards... Nope. Let's restart that. I read that completely wrong. Consult the Star Charts. 1 in the blue, instant with kicker, 1 blue. It says, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of lands you control. Put one of those cards into your hand. If the spell was kicked, put two of those cards into your hand instead. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. So Kicker is not one of like the main mechanics in this set. Kicker is a just like a evergreen mechanic now. So this may be just like the only card that has Kicker on it. So don't think that it's going to be like all over the set. But consult the star charts. So normally it's just like 2 mana for an instant. Look at the top X, where X is the amount of lands you control, right? So for just 2 mana, this card already scales based on how deep in the game you are, which is a good card, right? So pay 2, look at the top X equal to your land, put one of those into your hand, right? But if you paid an additional 2 mana, right, you're going to look at the top X equals to your lands, and then take 2 cards and put them into your hand. You don't even have to reveal them or anything. You just put 2 cards into your hand. The rest at the bottom. That's pretty freaking good. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. Like, that's actually a really nice scaling card. Like, you could put this in, like, probably blue-green lands. Blue-green lands is probably going to be one of the best places to put this. You can honestly, in, like, any heavy landfall deck, you could replace Dig Through Time with this card, because there's a heavy chance that this card sees even more than Dig Through Time ever did, and you still just take 2 cards from it. So for 4 mana, you get to take 2 cards, but you get to look deeper than a Dig Through Time did for you. That's pretty great, honestly. Thank you very much for the gift, bud. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That is pretty good. Cobra, it was a good card to preview. I would just replace this in you don't want to replace this in like every Dig Through Time with this card, because there's Dig Through Times that are in decks that don't really do bunches of lands, right? They do artifacts, they do spell reduction. So like Mystics of the Ismagus doesn't want Consult the Star Charts, but it does want she does want Dig Through Time for sure, right? But you don't want to Consult the Star Charts. That AC wants Consult the Star Charts for sure. What program do you use to build decks? Moxfield.com. 112%. They are a sponsor of the channel, but still, regardless, Moxfield.com is the #1 place that the Kurohitsuki channel uses to build their decks on. Moxfield.com. Alrighty. Let's look at this uncommon here. Unravel. 3 mana, counter target spell. If the amount of mana spent to cast that spell was less than its mana value, you draw a card. This is, it's just cancel. This is just the like cancel with set mechanic, right? Doesn't necessarily have a mechanic, but you get to draw a card. That's, that's fine. Thoughts on the upcoming Sonic cards? I actually, ALV, I actually have 2 videos up on the new Sonic cards. I did a Sonic deck preview and Eggman deck tech thing. So if you want to check out the channel, be sure to do that. But yeah, I think that they're both really cool. I think that the Dr. Eggman deck can be used to build a really good thematic, like Dr. Eggman taking over the city with a bunch of constructs and stuff. I think that theme is really on point. And then the Sonic one is also very on point. We just get a bunch of creatures that have haste, creatures that have flash, that then we give the haste mechanic to. Let them deal damage to themselves, get a bunch of treasures, etc., etc. I think we can do a lot with the Sonic deck for both of them. Just corrupt judges in MTG. Is that like the beginning and end of the of that sentence? What's it mean? Tapestry Warden. So let's see what Shivam preview. Tapestry Warden, 3 and a green for a 3/4 robot soldier with vigilance. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power stations permanence using its toughness rather than its power. This is going to be a very, very good draft card. Tapestry Warden. You're going to be able to have like a 0/7 blocker out and then crew an entire spacecraft with it. This is a very interesting Toughness Matters card. We had a Toughness Matters commander just in Tarkir, like just a set ago. This could very well go in that deck, but probably not. I think this is more just a draft focus all-star where you're crewing spacecraft left and right. I think that's super awesome. Let's see. Hull card for a 1/1 Death Touch. Let's see. Ilvoy Galeblade. We the first time we did a video, we actually didn't see any Ilvoy cards, and I actually wanted to point out. I just wanted to point them out here, right? So the blue faction in the Sothara space solar system, which we talked about last time, is the Ilvoy. So all of these jellyfish people that you see, they're Ilvoy. That's just what they're called. They're not native to like the solar system, like the setting that we're at. They're just like from a different place in space, but they have like a research station on one of the planets here. Sacrifice this creature, draw a card. Shocker. Yeah, woo. Who saw that coming? Let's see. Ooh, okay. From Maurice Weber, we have one of the new mythics, Cosmogrand Zenith. This is one of the earliest arts that we saw, like when the set first came out. If we have enough common spacecraft, it might be a PDH commander. True, true. What's the best archetype looking so far? Warp. Easily Warp. The Warp archetype looks really, really cool. Because that also feeds directly into another archetype. But Station also looks very strong. Alright, Cosmogrand Zenith. This is the first mythic of the night, and one of the first arts that we saw when they first revealed the entire set, right? So Cosmogrand Zenith, 2 and a white for a 2/4 creature human soldier that says whenever you cast your second spell each turn, choose one. Either create 2 white human soldier tokens, or put a +1/+1 encounter on each creature you control. And that's pretty strong. That is really, really strong. They've really kind of nailed down on this cast second spell sort of vibe, right? Like in Tarkir, we had an entire mechanic named for it, Flurry. It is kind of weird that they don't have Flurry here. Like, they could just make Flurry an evergreen mechanic. They could just say, like, hey, every time something says cast your second spell each turn, it just means Flurry. I think they kind of technically did that with some older cards. I don't really know why. I think this is kind of a fair question, but regardless, so it's not, you don't have to go like Cosmogrand Zenith and then play something else. But someone asked earlier what the stronger mechanic is right now, and honestly, if you haven't seen what Warp does, it allows us to cast spells for a smaller cost, right? And then it gets exiled at the end step. Cosmogrand Zenith, you could play Cosmogrand Zenith, and then normally you would have like the card in your hand is too expensive to cast as your second card, but the warp cost is a lot less, so you might be able to cast that card at its warp cost to be the second spell, so you can make 2 1/1 soldiers, or +1/+1 counters to your whole board. That's like a really good use of the warp mechanic with this mythic right here. Even though this mythic doesn't say anything about warp on it, you can kind of see where they want you to tie those mechanics together. I think this is a very good mythic though. I mean, it could definitely go in any commander deck. If you wanted to go wide with human soldiers, my Aragorn King of Gondor deck definitely likes human soldiers, so I will probably put this in there. Let's see. Thank you very much for the follows. Cosmogrand is really good. Taterhead's really, really good. Let's see. That's not really much. Okay, so let's look at this planet. Planet is a new land type. I don't think it's something that we're going to see often. Probably every time we go to a space set, we'll see it, but it's not going to be like an everyday bro sort of thing. So, this is the White Alliance planet in the Sulfara system. This is Adagia, Windswept Bastion, a planet. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can add white mana with it. It also has the station mechanic, which is personally the mechanic that I am the most excited for. So, normally this land just comes in to play tapped, and it only taps for white. But if you add 12 charge counters to this land, and you add that by tapping a creature and adding that creature's power equal to charge counters on it. Once you get to 12 or more, you get to pay 3 white and tap to create a token that is a copy of target artifact or enchantment you control, except it's legendary. Activate only as a sorcery. So that's really weird. Okay, so that's just saying, so the reason that they make it legendary is so that you can't keep using Adagia to keep cloning like the same thing, right? So if you have I'm literally just grabbing a random card, Coin of Fate from Final Fantasy. It's an artifact, right? If you pay 4 to get a copy of it, it'll be Clone of Fate, but it's legendary. if you wanted to then tap Adagio next turn to make a copy of Clone of Fate again, you're going to have to reduce, sacrifice one of them to go down to the legendary, to be right with the legendary rule. So, yeah, I've never really seen that before on a Magic card, where like in order to stop you from going infinite, they make the target the thing that you make legendary. Normally they just say like, hey, you know, make a copy, but it's not legendary, so you can just keep on going forever. But this time they're like, no, 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 we want this land to be a little bit more balanced. It becomes legendary, so you can't do it again. You can't triple your parallel lives. Exactly, Walper. Yep. All right. The Dawnsire Sunstar Dreadnought. Now this, chat, is, and also shout out to Tolarian Community College, who was able to preview both of these cards. The Dawnsire Sunstar Dreadnought has been my favorite piece of art for the entire set thus far. Way back when it was first shown that we're going to be in space, we're going to have spacecraft, this was one of the titular cards that they showed off. Like, all of these little flecks back here, those are spaceships, right? Like, these are other spaceships in the background, just to show you how absolutely massive this ship is. And I think that is beautiful. So, this is the Dawnsire Sunstar Dreadnought is a colorless legendary artifact spacecraft with station. With 10 charge counters on it, Dawnsire says, whenever you attack, Dawnsire deals 100 damage to up to one target creature or planeswalker. And then if you get 20 or more, it has flying and it becomes a 20/20. I think this is beautiful. Yes, there's many things that you can do with this. You can shoot a stuffy doll. I'm going to put this in my Toralf deck, which says any excess damage dealt to creatures gets dealt to the owner's face, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with the Dawnsire. I think this is just truly, truly, truly beautiful. Let's look at the full art. There we go. Break those borders. I love that it breaks like the text box here. I love that it's truly showing the scale of this ship that is like monstrously huge, right? Like the Eldrazi are something that is this big. If it were on a plane, like if the Dawnsire was floating in the skyline above a regular plane, it would be like Eldrazi size, right? And the Eldrazi are just like these unbelievable titans. The Dawnsire matches that, and it has an ability that matches that too. Attack, deal 100, just orbitally bombard one creature in particular to death. And I think that's great. And then once you get to actually like fully crew such a massive space station, it is a one-shot card, right? It is a 20/20 creature. It just deals the entire life total to someone. I love it. This set's Jumbo Cactar. I think that's kind of fair, Armin. Yep, Stuffy Doll, Brash Taunter. Dawnsire looks like it should be Elspeth's ship. Honestly, like, once, we'll have, like, the next space set, and we have people from the regular Magic multiverse, kind of dipping into the space set, or vice versa, right? The planes cross, and yeah, like, Elspeth would be there leading the charge, like, on the tip of the ship, flying and stuff, and then just like shooting a massive laser. I love that so much. But yes, there is a couple of cards that definitely combo with this one. Stuffy Doll, Brash Taunter, Toralf for me personally. But really, combo or not, I'm just here to really enjoy what the ship has to offer. I'm just here loving every second of it. Truly. And it is interesting that it is a colorless ship, right? Because this is a ship from like the mono white faction. But it's colorless, so I don't really know what's up with that. I think that they just wanted to be like a universal ship that anyone could use, and that's fair. All right. Also, it's like purely symmetrical, and that makes me so happy. Alrighty, let's go to the next one. Oh, this is the Red Planet Caravan Memorial World. So specifically, Caravan, the red planet in the red planet of the solar system. This is where the Kav are from. The only native species to the Sothara solar system is the Kav. the Kavu, as we know them. And this is their planet. Like, this is literally where they're from. As you can see, it's not doing very well. It is halfway destroyed. Anyway, Caravan Memorial World is a planet. Enters the battlefield tapped. It can add red mana to your mana pool. And once it has 12 or more charge counters on it, you can pay 1 in a red, tap it, sacrifice any land, and create a 2/2 colorless robot artifact creature token. Then creatures you control get +1/0 and haste until end of turn. What a card. Massive haste in the land zone. That is the biggest thing to take away from here, right? It's one of those things where, like, as you build this up over time, eventually you do have the ability to pay 3 mana, sacrifice, one of the lands that you tapped for this, pay 3 mana, because it's 2 and then this land itself that you're tapping, make a 2/2 robot, which that part is truly whatever, kind of truly whatever, but every creature you control gets +1/0 in haste. And I mean, once you get to that point, like once you get to the point where like you use a bunch of goblins to charge counter Caravan and the next turn you swing out with everything, I'd say that's like actually a pretty powerful game changing ability. I know people have been saying like the red planet is getting the short end of the stick as far as like all of the very powerful planets, and on the surface I think that's true, but when you need to have haste, but you don't really want to give, put the cards in your deck to give your cards haste, well, now it's just in the land zone, which is pretty great. So it just takes some time to get there. But, like, okay, if you're making a billion goblins, it doesn't really matter. You can get to the 12 crew pretty quickly. This is part of the good land cycle, right? Cradle saying, yes, exactly, Kane. Yep. Now, this is great. Mass hates ends games. Correct, it does. Absolutely. Alrighty. Next, let's go over to... Okay, so I want people to see what the warp mechanic is. Because, again, people asked earlier, what's the good mechanic in the set? This is the warp mechanic. So, this is Broodguard Elite, X green for an Insect Knight. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. Okay, cool, whatever. When this creature leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. Will leave the battlefield. What could that possibly mean? This is Warp. Warp X in a green. You may cast this card from your hand for its warp cost. Exile this creature at the beginning of the next end step. Then you may cast it from exile on a later turn. So it's very similar to Foretell. It's very similar to Evoke. There's a lot of similarities. What's the Mardu mechanic? Dash. It's very similar to a lot of things. But what matters is that you could, instead of doing X green, you could do X green, put in a bunch of counters, right? It only exits that turn. It doesn't have haste, but you know that when it leaves the battlefield, aka once you get to the end step and it exiles away, you can put all of its counters on a creature you control. I think one of the best uses that you could have for warp, especially on a limited basis, is that you can warp in a creature, pump all your mana into it, make this like a 6/6, right? Then you can go over to your land and you can station that land or this actual spacecraft with these creatures that you're warping in. Then that creature leaves the battlefield and you get to put its counters on something else. But yes, I think that the best use for warp in the limited context, even if your card doesn't have a good enter or leave the battlefield ability, is actually to station cards, because you can do that even if you have Summoning Sickness. So yeah, Broodguard Elite is actually a pretty good example of not necessarily like the best ETB, but a very good leave the battlefield ability that Warp takes advantage of. And then you just get to cast this on a later turn, kind of like Foretell, with, just by paying its regular mana cost. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, let's look at a brand new spacecraft. Debris Field Crusher. 4 in a red artifact spacecraft. When this spacecraft enters, it deals 3 damage to any target, which is nice. You get a little bit of removal here. And once you get to 8 or more charge counters, it turns into a 1/5 creature with flying, and pay 1 in the red. This spacecraft gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This is just an uncommon. I don't think it's meant to be, the pinnacle of... lore pun notwithstanding, it's not the pinnacle of spacecraft design, but it does at the very least deal 3 damage to any target when it enters the battlefield, and I'm pretty happy about that. It is at least a little bit of removal, and then eventually it turns into a yeah. It eventually turns into like a pretty decent blocker, but you had to spend like 8 power to get it there. It's definitely not my favorite card, but it's there. It's just there. Nutrient block. This art is very funny. I like that, like in nutrient block, there's like a piece here that like doesn't get cut in half by the laser. Like whatever this is like a like a laser resistant bone piece. It's pretty crazy, but this is cool art. Nutrient block, artifact, food. It's indestructible. It is indestructible. Hey Blight Widow, good to see you, friend. This is an indestructible artifact that says you can pay 2 and tap it to sacrifice this artifact and gain 3 life, much like any food. When this artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. You gain some knowledge about what should and should not have ever been made into a food, and that is a nutrient block. I love that it's indestructible. It's very silly. I don't know why. Don't know why. Okay, now here's like an actual good spacecraft. Oh, and Katie Karlov is the one who previewed Nutrient Block. Congrats, Katie Karlov. And Good Luck High Five over here previewed Warmaker Gunship. This is a rare spacecraft. For 2 in a red, you get a spacecraft that says when it enters, it deals damage equal to the number of artifacts you control to target creature an opponent controls. So if you have a big board of artifacts, whether they be spacecraft, robot tokens, whatever it is, it enters the battlefield and just deals a bunch of damage to something equal to your artifacts. And that's pretty easy to do in red or red plus artifacts. Then, once you get 6 or more charge counters on it, it turns into a 4/3 with flying. Not bad. You know, that's like a perfectly decent card. It is 3 mana removal to something, so in limited, that's perfectly alright. And then in Commander, I mean, it is a spacecraft, and it does remove something when it enters, so it's like, you know, it's decent. It's decent. Let's go over to comicboot.com. Got to reveal Systems Override. This is a 2 in a red sorcery that says gain control of target artifact or creature until end of turn. Untap that permanent, it gains haste until end of turn. If it's a spacecraft, put 10 charge counters on it. If you do, remove 10 charge counters from it at the beginning of the next end step, right? So this is a very quick way to straight up just crew or station an entire spacecraft, right? Like you don't have to choose another, like an opponent's spacecraft. You could choose your own spacecraft. You untap it, you give it haste, you put 10 charge counters on it. It's probably able to swing or whatever with those 10 charge counters, and then it goes back, right? But this is like a really, really strong card and a very good way to crew any of your vehicle or any of your spacecraft immediately, right? You can crew the Dawnsire to level 10 super fast, and if you already had charge counters on it, this just adds, like, it just adds 10 on top. So this is definitely a card that's going into the Jeskai Precon for sure. ComicBoom.com also revealed Terror Pact Intimidator. This is one of the Kav. Is a 1 in the red, 2/1 Kav Scout that says when this creature enters, target opponent may have you create 2 lander tokens. And if they don't, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this creature, right? So you all know what +1/+1 counters are, but lander tokens, a new mechanic to the set, are tokens much like blood tokens, right? They're just kind of like the set mechanic artifact to sacrifice. You can pay 2 and tap a lander token, sacrifice it, and then search your library for a basic land card and put it to the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle up your deck. That's simple. It's nothing like crazier than that. Just like Blood, where it was just like, hey, this is the Innistrad mechanic with vampires, blah, discard the card, draw a card, whoop, you know, this is the space version of that. Find more lands, which is not bad, right? Either your opponent gives you the ability to search for 2 lands in the future, but you do have to pay mana for it, so you do kind of slow down to do it, or they let you make a 2 mana 4/3, which they might not want to do early or late game. Oh, welcome back, Tribute. Yeah. It's very much like the Tribute mechanic, which was resoundingly bad, by the way. Also, a counter doubler will double the counters on, but not off. True. 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 Oh, you're talking about the previous card. Yep, yep. Terrapex is probably only good in draft, and EDH always give counters, and constructed always give landers. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's super fair. It's just an uncommon. This is Annul. This is one of the like special cards that you can get from playing standard. Counter target artifact or enchantment. This is a reprint card, but you know, it's a decent art. Famished World Sire, so good on PC Gamer for revealing this card. This is again one of the earliest arts that we saw in the preview panel for Edge of Eternities. Famished World Sire is a 5 green creature Leviathan that's a 0/0, but it has Ward 3 and Devour Land 3. When this creature enters, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is this creature's power. Put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. So, what does Devour mean, right? Because how does this 3/3 live? Well, Devour says, when this creature enters, you may sacrifice any number of lands. It enters with 3 times that many plus and plus encounters on it, right? So you pay 5, 6, 7, 8 mana to put in a Ward 3/0/0, and for every land you sacrifice, it gets 3 plus and plus encounters. If you sacrifice all 8, that's 8, 16, 24 plus and plus encounters on the Famished World Sire. I wouldn't necessarily say put all your lands in that bucket, but hey, sometimes you get there. It doesn't have trample though, so you know, be weary. But you know, sacrifice 3 lands just because you can. That is 3, 6, 9 plus and plus encounters on this creature for, you know, a decent chunk of mana. I think this is a pretty cool card. And again, it's a card, we kind of mentioned this previously. It's a card that's less about, like, you know, reduce... you don't want to necessarily use Llanowar Elves, per se, to play this card, right? Like, Mana Dorks help you play this card, but you need to devour lands in order to make this card really worth it. So, this is in a land-heavy deck, but not necessarily a land-centric deck, a landfall deck or anything like that. Also, I do like that this can be put into the Jund precon pretty easily. Okay. So, Ben Bateman, friend of the channel, was able to preview Alpha Lorel, Sun Chosen. So, Alpha Rael, I should say. I love Alpha Rael. I like as a character, he is one of the 5 main characters in the story for this set. I would say like 7, right? But he was one of the main characters. And he actually also has another card that we saw revealed way back when the set, the story started back in Vegas? Yeah. But Alpha Rael, Sun Chosen, is 3 black for a 3/3 legendary creature human cleric with Ward, discard a card at random, and Void. Whenever Alpha Rael attacks, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or a spell was warped this turn, defending player loses half their life, rounded up. And I think that is super cool. So, just as like a quick lore tidbit, right? Alpha Rael is a twin. He has a twin sister. But at the beginning of the story, she was sacrificed to the black hole that you see in like all the arts, right? So, that is kind of his abilities of like making someone lose half their life is a callback to, you know, that part in his lore. And I just think that's really cool to have the lore and the mechanics kind of combined like that. But Alpha Rael Stone Chosen is also showing off the Void mechanic, right? So the warp mechanic is if a card was, you know, you can pay lower mana, put a card into play, and then it exiles at the end step. Void is if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or was warped this turn. Defending player loses half their life, rounded up, right? So if you pay the warp cost on the card, may they come in for cheaper, that will trigger Alpha Rael when he attacks. Or if a creature died, if you destroyed a creature, if you sacrificed a creature, destroyed someone else's stuff, you want to put like kind of mono black not board wipes, kill spells in this deck, in my personal opinion. You know, you want to like Doomblade something out the way so that a non-land permanent left the battlefield in general this turn. It doesn't have to be your own. It doesn't have to be your opponent's. It could be anything. As long as something left, you're good to go. And non-land, so don't think that you can just crack a fetch land, okay? Non-land permanent. And they lose half their life rounded up. Eventually, they will lose. I love Alpha. He's a our resident boy failure. And this art is sick, by the way, too. This art is my favorite. One of my favorites in the set by far. Renegade map. Yeah, Renegade map. Any artifacts that sacrifice to find a land. The lander tokens. Yep, you can sacrifice lander tokens for sure. But Alpha Rael Stone Chosen is an absolute beast. Talia Vest got to reveal one of the most busted cards, I think. One of the most busted cards. Bioengineered Future. For 1 green, you get an enchantment that says, when this enchantment enters, create a lander token. Okay, sure. Seems normal enough. Then, each creature you control enters with a +1/+1 counter for each land that entered the battlefield under your control this turn. So, you know, the lander token that you use, you can use that, like, right away. So, say, like, you played a land that turn to get to 5, right? Then you pay 3, Bioengineered Future, and then you pay 2 to sacrifice that lander. That will trigger the secondary ability of a creature. The next creature you control enters with +1/+1 counters equal to the amount of lands that enter your battlefield this turn. Says 2 lands, says 2 +1/+1 counters. Easy. Very, very cool. I think this is a strong card. And the Jund precon would like this for sure. Yeah. Nice job, Talia. Anna Margaret, one of my favorite people ever, got to reveal Umbral Collar Zealot. So this is one of the main characters from the Monoist faction. Umbral Collar Zealot. For 1 in the black, you get a 3/2, which, I mean, 3/2 for 2 mana, I think is pretty good. And you may sacrifice any other another creature or artifact, right? So you can do this whenever, right? This is instant speed. This is not sorcery speed. This is not only once per turn. It's just pay 2, sacrifice another creature artifact. You get to surveil 1, right? Do you, right? This is an infinite sack outlet that you can just have, just kind of roaming around. It's kind of weird, but he's here to make you sacrifice or do not much else. But sacrifice and surveil, pretty strong. Wizards of the Coast also revealed a brand new mythic, Cards Wild. Card is very good. Card is very, very good. Wizards of the Coast revealed a brand new card, the Dominion Bracelet, for 2, and this is an equipment. For 2, equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has pay 15. Exile the Dominion Bracelet. You control target player during their next turn. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the card's power. Activate only as a sorcerer. So you can pay 2 mana for the Dominion bracelet. You can pay 1 to equip it to something, and then normally it has a 15 cost. But you know, if you warp in a very good creature, then you can give it the warp creature the power, right? The warp creature you can tap. You can equip it really, and then you can pay that reduced cost if the warp creature has like a high power cost, and then now you get to play someone else's turn. And I do like that Dominion Break it does exile itself, so it's not super repeatable like a certain someone. Just like a certain 6 mana card, Mindslaver Lock over here, Dominion Bracelet exiles itself, so you're only doing it once. Only doing it once. But yeah, how do you feel about the Dominion Bracelet? I think it's pretty dope. I think it's like, so many commanders eating good this set. So very true, Ace. Art is dope. The art is really cool, and they actually have the there's a Japanese promo art too. I don't know which one I like more. I like both arts. You know what I'm saying? Like I literally like both arts here. Good card to use if you also run the Planeswalker Run in 7. Oh, you're talking about one of the land destruction, the land sacrifice cards? Yeah. Yep, Dominion Bracelet is pretty cool. Pretty cool fun. Alrighty. Next. Don't know where this came from. Starport Security. This is just a 1 mana artifact creature for 1. Tap another target creature. This ability costs 2 Lexic cast if you control creatures with plus with a +1/+1 counter on it. Like, I mean, I guess. So like 2 mana, tap another target. For 1 mana, that's like not great, but you know, I don't know. But a limited all star for sure. Cosmic Grand Zenith. This is just more fantabulous art, more amazing, super cool mega art. Let's see. Oh, okay, another spacecraft. Galvanizing Saw Ship. 5 in a red. Spacecraft with a station, and once you... Okay, alright. It has, once you get to 3 counters, it turns into a 6/5 with flying and haste, which, you know, pretty on the nose with, how this guy wants to, deal damage. Pretty, he just wants to saw through the universe here. Yeah, flying haste for 3, that is wild. Alrighty. Next. Ruinous Rampage. This is the brothers reunion or something of this set. Ruinous Rampage. 1 red for a sorcery that says choose 1, deal 3 damage to each opponent. Or exile all artifacts of mana value 3 or less. That's pretty good actually. Trying casually, thank you very much for the big old spicy raid. Let's go. Oh yeah, we rocking it. All right, thank you so much, Trying Casually. Thank you very much for the raid. Joe Killcar, good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Trying Casually, how's it going? This doesn't rival Brotherhood's End. I mean, exiling all artifacts of mana value 3 or less is like pretty cool. Or 3 damage to each opponent. Oh yeah, it doesn't get rid of the board per se, right? Like if there's some robots that you get rid of, that's kind of fine. But yeah, exile all artifacts of mana value 3 or less, or 3 damage to each opponent. Yeah. No, it definitely doesn't damage like the potency, but or it does damage the potency because you're not dealing with the creatures that are the problem. But it's alright. 3 damage to each opponent or exile all cards of mana artifacts of mana value 3 or less. Mode 1 is just a bad raid. Mode 2 is where you want to be going with this. Correct. Let's look at the Caveron Memorial World. So this is the new art for it. Or not new art, but like just another planet art. This is the, you know, through the window art pieces. You know, this card looks bad, but, you know. Okay, so this is Adagia, Windstep Bastion. This is the mono white like land that we saw before. I do like this little viewport land here. It's yeah, it's dope. I like it. I like it. Hey, Hugs and Roses, thank you very much for the cheer. Appreciate it. Love it, love it. Ooh, okay, so Tom Lum, hopefully brand new friend of the channel. Tom Lum got to post this super good card. Scout for Survivors is a 2 and a white sorcery that says return up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Play a +1/+1 counter on each of them. Alright. Scout for Survivors. Super cool, super thematic, super flavorful, right? But the card is busted, okay? If you have a bunch of 1-drops in your graveyard, and, you know, you can make your deck that way, you know, he return up to 3 target creature cards of mana value 3 or less, so, like, you can, I mean, you're taking a whole a whole lot of people, lot of cards that want to go in here. So, like, good 1-mana spells. I mean, like, Ragavan, you could bring back from the grave after Ragavan's, like, you know, dashed out and died. Who else is 1 mana? Sarah Ascendant. Yes, if someone is able to finally take out your Sarah Ascendant, you can. Lotho is a 2-mana card, so you could do, like, hey, Squire Ascendant, the Sarah's Ascendant, and look for, you know, a new card to play, or just bring back in like a Lotho, stuff like that. I think this goes real hard in black white aristocrats, right? Because you're already sacrificing creatures. Now you get to bring them back. Because this place is a counter, we can't revive X creatures. Right. This card from Boombro makes you gift for this push. Yeah. Yep. Taylorheads, you are right. Did you show that insect that lets you play an extra land and play from your graveyard? And everything else, right? Like 3 abilities on the card. I think that's from the commander set, and that's gonna be going up soon. Arin, second of Locked Lane. Nice. Nice, I like that name. Market Neom. Hangerback Market Back Walker, Walker Melissa. Yeah, there's a lot. Possibility Tactician. Positive. Let me get some water in me. Sorry. Soul Warden. Yeah, Tommy. Yep, Soul Warden is a really good card to get back. You can just get the Soul Sisters back, like all 3 of them, you know? Or 2 Soul Sisters and a Soul Brother. Not in the new set, but can I get your opinion on Noyan Dar as a commander? Noyan Dar as a commander is for people that want to live on the edge, and quite frankly, I am very threatened by Noyan Dar decks. If someone sits down at a table with Noyan Dar, if someone sits down at the table with this commander, I know that they are, like, unhinged and that they need to be taken out. Like, you gotta watch every single card they do, because this Noyan Dar is really, really strong. Alright. Back to the set. Possibility Tactician. Technician, I should say. Possibility Technician. 2 in a red for a 3/3 Kavu Artificer. When this creature or another Kavu you control enters, exile the top card of your library. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it if you control the Kav. That's pretty cool. Whether it's like the warp cost, right? So like it enters for 2. You exile the top card of your library. You get to play it, right? And then later on, you can pay this for 3 and just, you know, cast even more cards for exile. You can't warp from exile, which that kind of does suck, but Possibility Tactician is just giving you more lands, you know, giving you more cards to work with. 5 mana, 3/3 Impulse Draw 2 seems okay. It seems okay. It also has really cool art. So, I mean, I think for this art alone, you gotta pick it up. For this art alone, it's just beautiful. Interceptor Mechan, a 2 black and red artifact creature robot for a 2/2 with flying. When this creature enters, return target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And Void, at the beginning of your end step, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or a spell was warped this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That's, yeah. Just put a +1/+1 counter on it. It just gets bigger forever. Oh, or, let's see, when it enters, yeah, from your graveyard to your hand. Yep. This is just a decent uncommon, right? I don't know if this is necessarily going in any commander decks, but it is a pretty decent uncommon. Gravkill for 4 mana, exile target creature or spacecraft. So while your opponent, and this is an instant speed card, right? So while your opponents are like charging up and, you know, missing out on dealing damage to you because they want to put enough damage on, well, anything that destroys spacecraft. And turns out Gravkill still wins. You know, exile target creature or spacecraft. Yeah, you could just get destroyed by a spacecraft. Or you might just destroy a spacecraft just by, like, just because, you know? It's pretty good. Fell Graveship. This is one of the brand new spacecraft from the Monoist faction. Fell Graveship, 2 in a black for a when it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Then when a creature or spacecraft card from your graveyard goes into your hand. Wait, what? Hold on. Let me reread this again. Fell Graveship, 2 in a black. When this spacecraft enters mill 3, then return a creature or spacecraft from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, not bad. I like this. This is not too bad. I don't know if this necessarily... you could put this in for Shinra's Reinforcements, right? I think that's like the card from Final Fantasy set where it's like mill 3, gain 3. This is mill 3, return something, which can definitely be used for use for good here. Use for good here. And also for at 8 charge counters, it becomes a 3/2 of flying and lifelink, which is like, okay, coolio. Hemosymbic Might. Whenever there's for a green 1/1 Might, not a Phyrexian Might, but just a Might. Whenever this creature becomes tapped, another target creature you control gets +X until its power, where X is this creature's power. That's not bad. It's just modular, but like, it might. Pain for All. Now, I've seen a lot of people talk about how they're going to use this card to do some absolutely wild things, like getting free spell costs off your opponent and all that. It might be a Phyrexian, yeah. Pain for All, Enchantment Aura. 2 in a red with enchant creature you control. When this aura enters, enchanted creature deals damage equal to its power to any other target. When enchanted creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target and each opponent. Yeah, Pain for All is a really, really good, strong mechanic here. Alrighty. Next is Plasma Bolt. Excuse me. Next is Plasma Bolt. For a red, you get a sorcery that deals 2 damage to any target, but if a non-land card left the battlefield this turn, or was warped this turn, deal 4 damage, right? So, or I guess 3 damage, right? But this is what we've been charging up for. To talk about Plasma Bolt all day long. Let's see. Plasma Bolt. Alright. Let's go to 0.0 Ballad. This is an X in a black. Now, this is very similar to Toxic Deluge, right? Destroy all creatures with toughness X or less. You lose X life. If X is 6 or more, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield under your control. So, yeah, destroy all creatures with toughness X or less. You lose X life. It's X is 6 or more. So this costs 7 mana to... I mean, Toxic Deluge, right? This is just Toxic Deluge, but not -1/-1 counters. So isn't this basically like strictly worse or not? Or, I mean, I guess if you pump in a lot of mana, you can get something back, but... How do we feel about 0 Point Ballad? Unlike the most small creature haste board wipes, this does not shrink your attackers. Correct, yeah, it's not like -2/-2 to the board just to, get certain everyone out. It's just like you can be as strong as you need, but the colorless. Yeah. Doesn't get around indestructible, but does reanimate. Okay. 0 Point Ballad. I like this one. This is a good one. And only 1 printing? Okay. Have to look for more. I thought it was more. Sunstar Expansionist. So this is just like the full Sunstar uniform. When this creature enters, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a lander token. Whenever a land you control enters, this creature gets +1/0 until end of turn. So I don't think that part's gonna matter that much. I think this is part of a cycle where like you're just you got your guy that's just like kind of happy to be here. Sunstar Expansionist, yeah, pretty good. ETB lander, landfall, creatures get 1/0 until end of turn. I like it. I like it. Buru Wumper. Favorite format at the moment? Favorite format is Commander, by far. Oops, excuse me. Yeah, my favorite format is Commander. The art looks real good. Yeah. Let me go back to it. Yeah, look at that art. I want to be him. I want to be him when I grow up. Virus Beetle. Virus Beetle is 1 in the black for an artifact creature insect. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card, which, you know, is like pretty par for the course. I don't know if this deck specifically has a lot of graveyard recursion, like for your opponent and all that. Like, I just don't really think that there is, but hey, you do you. Survey Mechan. A 4 mana artifact that says flying and hexproof. You can pay 10 to sacrifice this creature and it deals 3 damage to any target. Target player draws 3 cards and gains 3 life. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. So clearly you want this deck to go a little wide. I don't know which one I like more. It's like on one hand, like it's always gonna cost like 10 mana, right? Like it doesn't get reduced. It costs like for okay, whatever book you're reading. First book, huh? I don't remember that long. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. All Fate Scroll. 3 mana artifact that says it's a mana rock, so tap for any color, and then pay 7 and tap to sacrifice this artifact and draw X cards for X to the number of differently named lands you control. So I think that's gonna be the landfall deck that's not doing basics, I guess. And 1 of this artifact draw. Okay. Yeah, it's like fine. Specimen Freighter. So this is a blue vehicle. Specimen Freighter is a 5 in the blue 4/7 that says when this spacecraft enters, return up to 2 target non-spacecraft creatures to their owner's hand. So ETB for 6 mana, you bounce 2 things from the board, which is pretty amazing. And then Station only costs 9, right? Once it's online, is a 4/7 with flying, and whenever the spacecraft attacks, you're getting lower pay. Okay. Well, at least you bounce something. Even if you don't use that like last and final ability, you still are 4/7 flying. I like this one a lot. Alright. Rampant Elemental, 1 in a red with reach. 0/4 with reach, probably to counter that. Probably to counter. Where'd they go? Forgot where I put it. Oh, never mind. It's not that important. Next up is Mightform Harmonizer, brand new to Commander because we've never seen this card before. For 2 green, you get a 4/4 insect druid. Excuse me, sorry. Mighthorn Harmonizer, landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, double the target of power. Ooh, okay. So what you want to do with this chat right here, because this is a 4/4 for 4, but you could warp it in for 3, right? And then play a land. So normally on turn 4, you would play your land and then play this card regularly, right? But you can go to turn 4, pay 3 mana, put the Mightform, onto the battlefield, and then play a land. That land enters, double the power of something, and then that player crews or whatever. But yeah. This is a decently fine card for as far as warp goes. You know, like warp wants to be used, and well, we're using it. Bill says what? Honestly, Bill would like this. Bill is an insect as well, right? Yes, I think so. Oh, there we go. Fungal Colossus, 6 in the green for a 5/5. It costs X less to cast, for X is the number of differently named lands you control. So, okay. Memorial Team Leader. This is a 3 in a red for a 4/3 cop soldier. During your turn, other creatures get +1/0. Okay, definitely leading the charge here. And you could always warp this in, right? So, like, you can warp it for 2 mana and, just live the. Like, he doesn't do anything because he don't have haste, but he can crew a station. And during your turn, other creatures get +1/0, right? So he still gets to do the buff, the +1/0 on everyone, even though you just like pay 2 to warp him in. Yeah, warp definitely has a home. I know, chat. We were talking earlier. It's like, does warp really seem good? Like, does it really have a home? Yeah, in this set in particular. Bill is a plant, a cactus. Yes, a cactus, if you will. This is Cut the Fuel Line. This is a 2 in a red instant that says target creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. If that creature has flying, it does twice that much damage instead. Okay. That's pretty cool, right? It's just like, okay, well, normally you would just like kind of tumble over and perish. But if you're, in the atmosphere, I'm going to, blow up your jetpacks. And then also just kind of leave there. I think people are going to be turned on by this. Like, 3 mana token doubler? I don't know. I don't know when I saw that before. But yeah, it's good that this is an instant. Weft Walking. This is revealed by Loading Ready Run. Weft Walking. It's very similar to Planeswalking. Like, really, really similar to Planeswalking. It is a 6 mana enchantment that says, when this enchantment enters, if you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your spell lobbies, then draw 7 cards. But first, each player casts. The first spell each player casts during their turns may be cast without paying its mana cost. So, I mean, ETB, if you cast it, discard, draw 7, right? Okay. And then the first spell each player casts during each of their turns may be recast without paying its cost. So yeah, you get to like take all of the first spell each player casts during each of your turns may be cast. Yeah, I mean that's just kind of sick, actually. That's actually really really cool. Her little lore blurb there. Weft Walking looks good for the blue braids deck. Yeah, yeah. Officer, how was I supposed to know that they can't walk on water? Come on. All right. This is one of the brand new commanders that was revealed today by MTG Mudsta. This is Diadrin Synthesis Amalgam. X green Y. Legendary artifact creature construct with trample. Daydream enters with a +1 number of +1/+1 encounters on the equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. And whenever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 encounter from each of up to 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 2/2 colorless red artifact creature token. Okay. ETB. Enter with mana equal to how much I cost. Okay. And then whoever you attack, you may remove a +1/+1 encounter for each of the 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create 2/2 bloodless artifact robot. Yeah. Yeah, this is really cool. And it's whenever we attack, right? So we could I mean, there's a lot of triggers that happen when we attack. I think we can respond to that too, because we're responding to the ability on the stack. Diadrine was not in the lore itself, but I do think that we'll potentially see more than her. I mean, yeah. Bioengineered future, biomechan engineer. Wow, they really okay. Uh, Biomech and Engineer for green and white artifact creature. That's a 2/2 that says when this creature enters, create a lander token. We already know what those does, and then create a. Hold on, let me do this again. Biomech and Engineer, green and blue for a 2/2 artificer insect. When this creature enters, make a lander. Pay 8, draw 2 cards, and make a 2/2 robot. That's a lot of mana. That's like a lot of mana. In limited, this is probably pretty good. The draw 2 cards part is like what makes it. Damn, draw 2 cards and make a colorless robot. They don't like so far. We haven't seen like something churning out like a billion artifact creatures. Not like really, really. I wonder why they focus on it so much. All right. Chorale of the Void. This was revealed. Infinite mana outlet. I mean, like, but you have to do 8, right? Like, you can't veer away from that even for a second. It has to be haste. Chorale of the Void. Enchantment Aura for 3 and a black. Enchanted creature only that you control. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, put a target creature from the battlefield. Ugh. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, put target creature card from defending player's grave onto the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. Wow. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, put target creature card. Put target creature card from defending player's graveyard. Yeah, okay. And then Void at the beginning of your end step. Sacrifice this aura unless a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or spells war. At the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this aura. Oh, okay. I see what it's trying. It wants to keep this in chat, right? Like Horror of the Void, you want to put it on Alpha Royale, right? And then watch, attack, target things, etc. And then, like, just Void. Whoever Void is. This is an interesting one. But it's also made by Alex Bronwyn, and I am happy for literally every single thing that she does. Okay. I want this for Ziatora so I can repeatedly fling people's big stuff at them. True, right? You only sacrifice cards that are on your turn, right? Like, that you control. So, a lot of that blubber needs to come from you, but... Alrighty. Avendo Wakes Heaven. Could have swore you met before. Alright, Avendo Waking Haven. There you go. What? Avendo Waking Haven is the green planet and enters tapped, and if you get 12 or more counters on it, you can pay green and tap to add green for each creature you control. So, welcome back, Gaia's Cradle. You look different. Again, this is pretty fine. I mean, we already saw a green Bailoff that has all these abilities, and I can only imagine it gets, like, way worse with, like, trailer season and, like, these... Let me scratch all that. This is really strong. This is a really strong card. This is... I blanked on the land. What's the land called again? It's, like, I said it and then I forgot about it. It's, Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle. So, people are saying, like, hey, Gaia's Cradle is, like, unsoft banned or, like, back in the format. And honestly, I think that's pretty fair. Avendo is Gaia's Cradle, but you have to have a bunch of creatures in play in the first place in order to crew this. I don't know how hard this will be in Commander. The other Gaia's Cradle variant we have is, like, you just have to have 4 creatures out, right? Like, we have cards that are basically Gaia's Cradle and basically Tolarian, but they're, like, in a much more nerfed form. So, I don't think Crew 12 is very, like, super hard to get around, to be honest. I think that like if we see that, if someone plays this at the table and it's like, oh yeah, this is like in my standard deck, I got stuff for it, you might want to start investing in some land destruction, because I think this is like going to be a really really common and very powerful card. And the ETB's tapped, so no crop rotation lines. True, true. This is easier than Itlamok. Yeah, 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 yeah. Maybe, yeah. Arguably, maybe, yeah. It can be used as land though, even if you don't have creatures. Exactly, Hitmonic. Exactly, right. Like it doesn't. All of these planets don't have to just be for their Station 12 abilities. That's just like if you have the time and to be able to do it. If you can not block and all that. But yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. This is gonna be pretty good. It could be used as a land. Yeah, it could be used as a land, and it will be used as a land mostly. This is the portal, port view for it. Next is All Fate Stalker. So this is another Drix card. I guess we haven't covered the Drix yet today, but the Drix are just kind of like this ancient alien race that are trying to find Eldrazi, right? So All Fate Stalker, 3 and a white. When this creature enters, exile up to one target non-assassin creature until this creature leaves the battlefield, and you have warp, right? So you could just pay 4 and like just permanent, until this card goes away, just full on get rid of that card, right? Or you could pay 2 for warp to get rid of the thing, right? Like you 2 mana, exile something, right? And then end step, All Fate Stalker goes away. The card that she took comes into play again. So you want to make sure that if you kind of do the warp ability, don't do something that like has an ETB on it, right? Because then it'll just like happen. We're not trying to give our opponents double ETBs here. New Fiend Hunter. Fiend Hunter was 3 mana, I think. Yes. Yeah. Every EDH deck should have Reliant Removal. It's a bunch of the most played cards and spell. Right. Sammy's Curiosity. Sammy again is like one of the lead characters. This is he's a roommate. Sammy's Curiosity. Gain 2 life and create a lander token. Right. That's all. Like it's just there. Create lander, sacrifice. Okay. Mono is Circuit Feeder. Interesting. Nautilus. It is artifact creature Nautilus, not like jellyfish or something like that. It's just artifact creature Nautilus. Thought we retired. I honestly could have swore that we retired that name a while ago. But anywho, 6 mana, 4/4 artifact creature Nautilus with flying, and when this creature attacks until end of turn, target creature you control gets +X+O, and target creature an opponent controls gets or I guess -0/-X, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Okay, Jesus. All right. It sounds like very you. I mean, what ETB -4/0, and then 0/4. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Like, I kind of wish I had warp, to be honest with you. But it's 6 mana. This also counts as like an artifact that we have. So it's more to like charge up. Like we get to charge up our board state full of artifacts before we go to them. Before we, try to like kill people with it. Alright, so this is Memnon, the right hand. So this is the, if we read any of the story, which we kind of looked over a little bit together, Memnon is the Ilvoy that's been helping Tezzeret kind of like find what he needs. Memnon is pretty strong, as you can see. So, Memnon, 3 red, 3 blue for a 3/4 legendary creature jellyfish advisor with flying, and you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast artifact spells from the top of your library at any time. Artifacts you control have tap, add blue, spend this mana only to cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. Oh. Yeah, that's like super. This is super balanced. Yeah. Love the sassy guy. I agree. Urza at home. Like, I mean, like, really at home. Like, yeah, this guy taps artifacts for blue, but you can't spend this mana only on card only to cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. So like you need to warp other cards, right? And then they're in exile, and then that's when Mammon can help like with the artifacts, right? You have to spend it on mana to cast a spell from anywhere, but I mean, where he is, yeah. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And then the new art form is this, right? Or I should say, like the secondary art. This is a secondary art. Obviously, this is beautiful. Um, or just storm off the top of your deck. Yeah, I mean that's more likely the case, right? This reminds me of Elsha the Infinite for sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah. But Memnon's pretty cool. I think that he is a much more balanced version of Urza, and it'll be cool to see him in action. We'll see how impactful he really is. All right. Ooh, I like this card a lot. Reroute systems. I repeat, reroute systems. Excuse me. Reroute systems is a white instant that says choose one. Target creature or artifact becomes indestructible until end of turn. Reroute systems deals 2 damage to target tapped creature. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I'll indestructible. I don't really know about the 2 damage to a tapped creature. You know, I feel like that could have been like just anything more than just 2, but I mean, whatever. I think people are gonna go for the like I'll block with my vehicle a little bit more. Roving Ecutor, Ro, Ac, Tor, Acutor. I actually hold on. Am I roving actuator? There we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, I had to like I don't know the last time I've read or seen the word actuator in my life? Question mark? Anyway, roving actuator, 3 in a red for a 3/4 artifact creature robot with void. When this creature enters, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn, or a spell was warped this turn, exile up to 1 target instant or sorcery card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard. Mana value 2 or less from your graveyard, huh? Copy it. You may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. When this creature enters, if a blah 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 warp creature exile up to 1 target instant source of mana value 2 or less from. Huh. This is an interesting one. I don't know. It's like you have to spend mana for that, like for the instance and sorcery, right? Oh no, copy it. It just has to be small. So something had to die. You could okay. Here's what you could do. You could say you have like 5 mana. You could lightning bolt, right? Something left the battlefield. Then roving actuator comes in. Um, non-land permanent left because you kill your opponent's thing. Then give me like your favorite instant of sorcery. That's 2 mana value or less, and like you get a copy, I guess. You have to have a spell in your deck though, like a spell in your graveyard, right? Yeah. This is, I mean, this is just like a weird one. It's just like a straight up weird card. I don't know. Maybe it's like a draft all star. Demonic Tutor. Is it like Demonic Tutor? Because I feel as though it's not, right? Goes infinite with Sensei's top and the number of cost reducers, not balanced at all. This is a draw my entire deck on turn 3 to 4 commander. Which one? Pulsar Squadron Ace, 1 in the white for a human pilot. It's kind of weird that we didn't see any other pilots, right? When this creature enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a spacecraft card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. Pulsar Squadron Ace. Yeah, I mean, all right, there you go. ETB, look at top 5, revealed one of the many spacecraft that are in this set. Crap for up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which one is supposed to be the broken one? Memnon? Memnon's supposed to be kind of broken. And these are like the last cards that they revealed, so let me just get through this last bit here. Seed Ship Brood Tender. All of the multicolor cards seem to be the infects, which is not great. Seed Ship Brood Tender for black and a green. You get a 2/3 Insect Citizen. Why the Citizen part? When this creature enters, mill 3 cards. Cool. And then you can pay 5 to sacrifice this creature themselves. Return target creature or spacecraft from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery, right? So, I mean, I guess you could just get set back for entire turns, right? With this creature, you just mill 3 cards. I mean, I don't know. This is amazing for Greece. This? Which one's supposed to be the broken one? Yeah, that'll be the one. Yeah. Wrists. Or, is it made for, what? Want this in your Swarm Weaver deck? I mean, you could, Goldfish it, right? ETB, like, play at ETB mill 3, and then you're like, okay, like, at this situation, can I play enough sound to get this? I don't know. Do not know. Alrighty, and then... Alright, so this is Sunstar Chaplain, right? Not to be confused with Sunstar Captain, this is Sunstar Chaplain. Also shown by the wonderful Peachy Pop. And Sunstar Chaplain is a 1 and a white for a 3/2 human cleric. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then you can pay 2 and remove a counter from a creature you control, and then tap target artifact or creature. That's right, yeah. Yep. So at the beginning of your end step, if you control 2 or more tapped creatures, right? So I don't know. If you're crewing, if you're stationing something, you're going to be tapped because you have to tap to do it, right? So then Sunstar Chaplain says like, hey, 2 or more creatures attack. Or at the very least, you know, I had to look out for this. So you're going to put a +1/+1 counter on one of those cards. Then maybe one of those cards can then crew better, right? Like it can get to station sooner. Or you can pay 2 to remove a control computer. A +1/+1 counter from a creature you control. Tap target artifact or creature. That's kind of a steep cost. I was thinking maybe for like Hilda, right? Because like she's all about tapping other creatures, like you know, on when they don't want to be tapped. And she does add +1/+1 counters to like a large thing. I just don't know. Yeah, nah. No, I don't think any of my decks want this one. This is a pass for me, bruh. But it's very, very cool. Very pretty. It has people have been making memes. It's like, you know, the cat, like the cat laughing over like his plate of food. It's kind of like that. All right, Rescue Skiff, one of the few final vehicles left. For 5 and a white, you get a when the spacecraft enters, return target creature or enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Huh. And then for 10 people working their 10 charge counters, you'll gain as usual. It's just like a 5/6 flyer for 5, but saved our opponent 10 damage, but we will take damage again. Either way, it looks pretty cool. It's like very symmetrical. I love that. I love anything symmetrical. There's a lot of hope to put a tapper in your Luminarch Aspirant. You want to spend 3 mana and sack a land for that? Isn't it just Power Cap Sun Titan? Oh, wow. Hmm. Okay, yeah, that is true. Yeah, they kind of just, it's just like a uncommon. Okay, yeah, ETB, aliens, charge counter. Yeah, no, that's pretty sick. All right, yeah, cool. Chad, I learned something new. Learned something new here. I love how easily you can tell Skiff's a red card at a glance. Skiff is a white card. Oh, repeatedly as is the point of Sun Titan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Repeatability is. Yep. Alrighty, and then that is all the cards, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's nothing else revealed today. So that was like, I mean, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 22. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that was a pretty productive time. We went over all the shit, all the stuff that looks good, right? We're gonna go over Die Drain. We're gonna go over Memnon. Memnon. And then slats. Yep. Although I guess it doesn't make sense. We gotta see if that's a card. Um, but these were pretty good rares. Peachy Pop got to reveal the Sunstar Chaplain. That's pretty good. Yeah, a lot of ambassadors are able to like reveal their cards now and everything. So a lot of them have been showing them off one at a time, and some have been sitting on some bangers. This wet walking thing is wild. This wet walking thing's real wild. I don't know how I feel about it. So like 6 mana enchantment. When it enters, if you cast it, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards, which, you know, is like 6 mana is not like the worst for that, right? Then the first spell each player casts during each of their turns may be cast without paying its cost. And that I don't know about that. I don't like that. Each player casts during each of their turns without paying its mana cost. I don't know if we'll see this in Commander. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's group hug decks, right? Okay, like there's group hug decks, and then there's this where it's just like, hey, just, you know, free stuff, free spell cast over there. Just wait your turn, and you literally get to free cast. I don't know. It gives the control spell a handful of fierce guardianships to stop the opponent's free spells. I just like this design of the spell. Yeah, I don't know, but if you don't cheat it, an opponent's gonna get a free. Right, exactly, exactly. And we can't have that. We can't be giving our opponents such value. But it might be our only chance. But yeah, these are pretty sick. I love what they did with Sammy. Um, so we have like Sammy Ship's Engineer, and then Sammy Wildcat Captain. So Sammy Ship's Engineer, like throughout the story, a lot of the characters go through like character changes, right? Alpha Rael started as a blue black card, and then like through Loss and Struggle and Triumph and all that stuff, he's turned to just like to mono black, right? Sammy Ship's Navigator has always been red white, and even in the newest iteration of them, of them, the which was it of Sammy Wildcat Captain, like just it's just later in the story, right? Like it's literally just later in the story. But this one clearly has a much more powerful ability, and spells you have affinity for artifacts, which is like really strong. I don't even know really which way to like kind of put this in, because Sammy has double strike and vigilance, and if we play a bunch of equipment, our cards just get cheaper, right? Like all of our spells just get cheaper. So I guess like almost pure artifact is like the best way to do this, maybe? I don't know. I think it is. Like just a bunch, like even if they're just swords. Hmm. Double strike vigilance. Affinity for artifacts. Yeah, that's pretty good. Dang this. That's scary. Oh, boy, people are gonna sit down with me at the table and play that. All right. Anything else to cover? Chat. Have you seen any preview cards that I forgot to mention? Oh, yeah, we covered all of these today too. Which commanders is chat looking forward to? Right. Could this go in the cloud deck? Oh, the thing that we just looked at. What did we just look at? Wait, which one did we just look at, Ezekiel? Unless you flash it on the opponent's end step, you're just giving them free spell, and that's something I refuse to do, Billy James. I refuse to give free spell. The lobster. Oh yeah, you're looking forward to the lobster? Yeah, yeah. The lobster deck tech is gonna be pretty fun. The lobster deck tech is gonna be pretty fun. Again, Chet, like the main reason that we're waiting on doing deck techs, for like all these brand new cards that are coming out is because like there might be cards in the sets themselves that kind of tell that complete package, and I'm here to like I like telling people the full like rundown of the deck as you've seen with the deck reviews that we've done. So we just haven't done these ones yet, but we will soon. But yeah, Ragos Deft Gastronaut is a cool one. I think even as far as like EDH rec goes, Ragos is like the most excited for. I think people are already built like over like 300 decks for him already. And probably Sammy would just kind of fit right in here, to be honest. But he's cool. He's cool. Not my particular cup of tea, but it's definitely my cup of tea to like play against this card. I definitely want to see this thing in action for sure. What other commanders? Anyone looking for Sammy? Servanden. There's gonna be another Servandum card. Let's see. Tanic. Tanic is like landfall, deal damage. I think that's pretty fine. Draw a little bit. I think like this is just so. I think it's super normal. Tanic Memorial Ensign. This is landfall. Whenever lane you control enters, deals 1 damage to each opponent. If it's the second time, this ability resolves this turn. Draw a card. Like it's like some damage, but I don't think there's gonna be like a whole deck around it. Tanic Memorial Ensign looks fun. Tanuk Memorial Ensign looks fun. I haven't tried Landfall since Golos got banned. And you might still not be right, because I don't necessarily think this Tanuk is like the be all end all, because just like all these characters start as like multicolor cards, right? So Tanuk is one of the main characters. We might see Tanuk again later, so you might enjoy the other version. It's not Commander, but I love the new Goyf too. Yeah, the Cosmo Goyf. It's a cool card. It's a cool card, and it does like take like a good amount of not like advantage, but just like it's perfect for what we want to do this set. Like it's perfect for, hey, are you warping a lot of cards and you're just not casting them, you're just keeping them exiled? Yeah, well, I'm gonna get power from it. And I think that's great. This creature's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and the toughness equals to that number +1. I always thought that was so silly. It's just like, yeah, blah 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 blah, and then that number +1. Like I know, I'm just like a little bit better. Just finished building your Yuna +1 encounters deck. Very nice, Scourge. Very nice, Scourge. I think that deck is sick already. I sight unsound. I can already tell that like it's pretty good. Let's see. This is one of the best use cases for Warp thus far. The Mechanoza. So normally it's a 6-mana 5/5 that ETBs, taps a target artifact or creature and stuns them, right? Normally that's what would happen for 6 mana, which meh. But now you can do it for 3 mana. Start that stun earlier, and then once the time the 6 mana rolls out, you can just replay it again. I think it's super cool. And it's a really good use of like how Warp is pretty good, right? Even if you can't attack immediately, Warp tells you can use abilities, that people ask of you pretty well. Alrighty. Ooh, I want to do full deck text on these, right? This Daydream. Diadrene. I gotta see how to say it. Diadrene synthesis amalgam. I think this is like the most straightforward, right? Like, so X green white for a 0/1 legendary artifact creature construct triad, and Dryden enters with a number of plus and plus encounters on equal to to the amount of mana spent to cast it. And whenever you attack, you may remove a plus and plus encounter from each of up to 2 creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a 2/2 colorless robot. So, like, they used to make commanders like this, right? These are, I don't know if we ever came up with like a proper name for it. But these cycle of commanders gain value equal to their cost, right? So like Prosh. So like originally you had Prosh Skyrider of Hail of Care, right? So for 6 mana, 5/5 flying, whenever you cast Prosh, you make X kobolds, where X is the number of mana spent to cast Prosh, right? So like the first time he does it, 6 goblins, but then someone removes him, right? The next time he comes back, that's going to be 8 goblins, then 10, then blah blah blah. It just turns into like this self-eating, well, Skyrider of Care. And it's all about how much mana it costs, right? Because the cost goes up by 2 every time. So Daydream Synthesis Amalgam is already just like a 2/2, right? But just, that was it. So once you start putting X into it, right? You do plus one plus encounters. You just throw some on there. Whether you have like, hey, whenever something enters the battlefield, you put plus and plus encounters on it. People do that. Whatever it is, it's a 0/1 with trample, but it enters equal to how much work you as the player who's casting this wanted to put in, right? If you make this like your big magnum opus, then make sure that it's something that can be defended and all that stuff. And if it's not, that's okay. Like, it's just like a fine card. Equal to the amount of mana you spent to cast on it. Like, yeah, just being like some sort of just save up mana. I guess, just like make that X really big at any time. And crush it. Whenever you attack, yeah. Remove a counter from a creature, each of the creatures you control. If you do, draw a card and create a total. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, this is sweet. This is sweet. I really look forward to building these. I don't know what this is all supposed to be also. Like, I don't know what... like a big vial of blood in there or something? I don't know. I have no idea what the art is, but... Alright. And Memnon. Someone says they wanted to build Memnon. I want to have a game where I have, like, each faction, you know what I'm saying? Like, each faction represented. That's what I want to do. But we'll see if we can make that happen later. Alrighty. Memnon on the right hand. Yeah. That's a good one. Could this go in the cloud? Sammy could go in a cloud deck, by the way. Sammy definitely the one that has affinity for artifacts. Definitely. As long as you have enough artifacts to get out there. To make it all worth it. Putting Sammy in your Brea deck? Yes. Speaking of like new cards, there's the Commander spoilers. I just came out with a video today, a short form video that you might see up on the channel soon, about Depth Shaker Titan. This is one of the new rares from the Final Fantasy Commander set, the Jund, or no, this is the Jeskai one. You're saying like you want to put a good card in Brea. Death Shaker Titan absolutely does, because he's gonna, this when it enters the battlefield, any number of non-creature artifacts you control become 3/3s, right? And they get sacrificed at the beginning of the next end step, but each artifact and creature you control have melee, trample, and haste. The like giving Brea's Thopters melee is scary, like scary and just it's really, really good. And trample, just in case you get blocked. And haste, in case they came in that turn or whatever. It's pretty good. Pretty good. That's not a Titan. I know, it's not a Titan, and yet, here we are. Worth noting, it's not up to 2. You have to take counters off 2. No, it's not up to 2. You have to take counters of 2. Correct. Yep. Very true. You're pre-ordering that Commander Precon. That plus you're putting the lobster in as well. Yes. Hey, listen, chat. If any of you are going to be purchasing any cards, please choose CoolStuffInc.com. Use code Kuro for 5% off for you, and also you make sure that you get it by release day. Super cool. But yeah, this is gonna be a really fun set. Like, there's still a lot of cards that need to be revealed. The Commander decks are already fully out, so that part's done. But the set itself has 233 cards revealed so far, and we know that there's they don't put like X out of X anymore, which is fine. Yeah, look at this layout, so pretty. Yeah. This is gonna be sick. Yep, big old battle for the edge. Alrighty. How do you feel about Horizon Explorer? Horizon Explorer is really good. That's oh, nope. Go back. Horizon Explorer, yeah. So Horizon Explorer I think is really good because you're able to in the deck that you have, the deck that the Jund deck is, it's a land sacrifice deck, right? Like that is the point of them. But there's a lot of Jund cards that come to play tapped, right? Because either they tap for multiple colors or whatever. So being able to immediately like just have your lands untapped is like pretty cool. And then whenever you attack, whenever you attack a player, you make a lander token. So normally the lander token brings back brings the new card out tapped, but not with Horizon Explorer. Horizon Explorer just keeps on trucking. This card is sweet. This card is very sweet. I think that the Commander Precons are off the chain. I think that they're very, very good. I think that long range sensor is like kind of really like, wow. This is a really good card, and I think that we could just discover forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, not in the precon deck that they gave, but you could just long range sensor, attack a player, put a charge counter on it, remove 2 counters. It's like good. And then Discovery 4, like, come on. Oh, super, super cool. Alrighty, that was about an hour 45. Lumra player is gonna be all over this guy. Lumra players don't need. God, Lumra players. Lumra has like their paws all over the Jund Precon, but like, I don't think that's necessarily the most flavorfully fun optimal way to play. Does this count if you attack 2 players or 3 in different ways? And so 3 players, right? So like trigger 1, trigger 2, trigger 3. It's whenever you attack a player. If it said whenever you attack, well, that would be not good either. But yeah, whenever you attack players. So like you attack a player, you attack a player, you attack a player. If you like, you know, in a Commander game. Okay. All right. Now, with that, chat, plan wasn't actually to stay too long. I think I'm actually going to kind of just already end and send this over somewhere. I'm going to start prepping, in fact, like for the rest of the night and tomorrow, I'm like literally scripting out YouTube scripts and all that sort of stuff so that we can get, so you can see my thoughts like in a more perfected form. This is like all off the cuff and everything, but the deck text, like with Alpha Laurel, Alpha Rael, I keep saying Alpha Rael, and even the Gastonaught, that's all gonna be like live because that like how we do it. Once the set is up, we'll do that deck build, and then later in that week or like the week after, the full like YouTube video for that will go out. But the pre-con for the Jeskai one, that's something that I'm actually going to take a lot of time and like actually make the way that I want it to be made. So that one I have to do off stream. But yeah, all right. I'm going to go do that. So chat, thank you very much. It's a very quick stream tonight. but that's okay. That is a-okay. I'm gonna send this over to Decked Out. Again, I appreciate you for coming by. Actually, oh yeah, Decked Out is still doing their thing, and they're doing a subathon so they can help get help moving to a new studio, and I like them. So, all right, chat. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you this weekend, I think. Well, I say that all the time, so I'm not gonna say that this time. I will see you next time. Definitely at least on Monday, because I want to start making these deck lists now. Like, I really like Alpha Royale, and I want to get a deck that's all like super flavorful and based on like the whole sister aspect and losing half your life and all that stuff. But there's like some cards in the set that have yet to be revealed yet, so I don't want to like I don't want to like remake a deck tech, and I don't want to have to add to it later. So that's why we're waiting. All right, chat. I'll see you later. Okay. Have a wonderful night.